Well, the rite of passage for being a professional ball player was to first play Little League and then Babe Ruth and just to go up your set. And when you're locked out of the beginning of that process, when someone says you're a girl and you can't play the sport you love, and then they tell you go play softball and pitch upside down, it's like the writing is on the wall. You're never going to have the time to be Don Larson or Whitey Ford or any of the heroes that you had at that time. So I don't think there's anything worse than a child being told that they cannot pursue their dreams. I'm Donna Lopiano. I'm the president of Sports Management Resources, former CEO of the Women's Sports Foundation, former director of women's athletics at the University of Texas at Austin. Hook 'em horns. I grew up on a street with 15 boys and one other girl, and the biggest disaster in my life was being told I couldn't play Little League baseball. And that meant I couldn't pursue my dream to be a pitcher for the New York Yankees. And it meant that college scholarships weren't in existence for women. I went through school, there were no college scholarships for women. My parents were first-generation Italian Americans. The most important thing in the world to them was to give everything to their children, that education was something you had to do, and they were entrepreneurs. They opened their own restaurant, and they wanted their kids to have everything. And when I came home crying that I wasn't able to play Little League baseball, it was like a 5-year mission on their part to figure out how to get me to play ball. And my dad, who owned a restaurant, finally realized that his best Army buddy was a scout for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and more importantly was the best friend of the national championship softball team, Ray Bestis Brakettes manager. And he, sight unseen because of a bottle of Chianti, I'm sure my parents fed him, agreed to take me for a tryout and made the team, and the rest is history. So over the last 5 years, we've seen a real slowing of participation opportunities for women. When you look at real new participation slots at high school level, we've seen an increase of 330,000 on the part of opportunities for boys and about 212,000 for girls. So there's been kind of a screeching to a halt period here in terms of continued progress on Title IX. So lots more work to be done. I think there's been a pretty good job done in terms of the education of this generation of young girls. And I think one of the other joys is this is the first generation of moms who will be coaching their daughters. We forget that Title IX was a father-led movement. Mom never had the chance to play. She didn't have a passion for sport. She didn't go out in the backyard and have a catch with her daughter, where Dad did. As soon as he knew that she had the right to play, she became a surrogate son. And that father-daughter bond was the characteristic of most of the athletes in the 70s and the 80s. Those young women are now at childbearing age. Their children are 6, 7, 8 years old. And truly, it's the first generation who are going to be coaching their daughters. So if Dad was rabid and encouraging of his daughter, wait till you see what Mom does.